Hey, are you a foreigner who wants to learn more about Vietnamese history, or a Vietnamese student who doesn't know anything about your own country past? A
Are
history buff who wants to show off your knowledge to your friends and teachers by telling
lesser known facts.
Regarding prehistoric era called Hombang period in legend, scientifically 300 to 400,000 years ago, there were Homo erectus living in what is now Vietnam. They were hunter-gatherers. By approximately 6,000 to 12,000 years ago, in various regions of our country, people had organized into tribes and communities. They had developed the use of tools, craft from materials such as stone, bone, and wood, as seen in culture like the Mum culture in Thái Nguyên and the Song culture in Phú Thọ. Around 5,000 to 6,000 years ago, these tribes and communities entered the agricultural period, cultivating rice. Moreover, around 3,000 to 4,000 years ago, as agriculture became more prevalent, Vietnamese began to use metal tools. This period characterized by cultures like the Phùng Nguyên culture in Phú Thọ and the South
According
culture
to
in Central
legends,
Vietnam,
origins
the
of Vietnamese
transition
peoples,
from primitive
the ancestor of
society to a
Vietnamese
new
people
era.
is King Yung Vuong. Legend has it that Đế Minh, whose great-great-grandfather was the Đế Thần Nông Thị, a Chinese king, went on a trip to the south. At Ngũ Linh Mountains, he met a fairy, whom he married. They have two children named Lộc Tục and Đế Nghi. Đế Minh crowned Đế Nghi as the king of the north and Lộc Tục as the king of the south. Lộc Tục took the range name of King Yung Vuong and rules the country of Xích Quỷ around 2879 BC. His son, Sùng Lãm, would go on to become the next king under the titles Lạc Long Quân. Lạc Long Quân was a dragon in waters, but he appears as a human. As king, he protected his people against monsters and demons in the regions. He also taught them agriculture practices and seamanship. Lạc Long Quân married Ogre, mountain fairies. She gave birth to a sack containing 100 eggs, from which 100 children was born. Lạc Long Quân went toward the sea in the south with 50 of their children, while his wife led the other half of the clans to the mountainous regions in the north. These sons divided the land amongst themselves, ruling from Dong Tinh Lake, South China to northern Vietnam. There are forebears of the various Bắc Việt or Bay Wind ethnic groups. In the southernmost regions were the Ogre and Lạc Việt peoples. The eldest son of Lạc Long Quân, Sùng Lân, founded the Văn Lang kingdoms of Lạc Việt peoples, placing the capital at Bạch Hạc, Việt Trì, Phú Thọ provinces. He was considered the first Hùng king.
According to legend, Văn Lang kingdom of the Hùng kings had a large territory, including parts of China in the north and bordering Ho Ton kingdom in the south. In Văn Lang, civil officials were known as Lạc Hậu and military commanders known as Lạc Tương. The king's daughters were named My Nương and his sons were called Văn Lang. The kingdom was divided into 15 regions, each headed by a Lạc Tương. Whenever a Hùng king died, his eldest son succeeded him. The people of Văn Lang developed a unique agricultural civilization. They celebrate numerous festivals, adorn themselves with jewelry, and engage in trade with neighboring states. This was the era of Đông Sơn culture, famous for its Đông Sơn bronze drums. The kingdom of Văn Lang lasted more than 3 millennia until the 3rd century before BCE. Subsequently, it was invaded by King Thục Phan of the Âu Việt people, and the 18th Hùng king were killed.
The Âu Việt tribe, led by a leader named Thục Phan, lived in the north of the Văn Lang kingdom. They had a long-standing vow to convert Văn Lang after a Hùng king's daughter rejected a marriage proposal. This pledge came to fruition during Thục Phan's time, around 285 BCE to 275 BCE or 257 BCE, depending on the sources. Thục Phan became Anh Vuong, the king of newly renamed kingdom of Âu Lạc, with its capital in Phong Châu, Phú Thọ province. Anyone may have construct Gola Citadel around 255 BC in their project faced supernatural obstacles until the intervention of the golden turtle god Kim Wee, which allowed its completion. Gola Citadel feature a spiral pattern and motorways aiding the ancient mutation.
14 BC, after unifying China, Emperor Qin Shi Huang sent a skilled and experienced general Do to Sui with 500,000 troops to march southward and conquer the territory of Baiyue. The powerful Qin army managed to annihilate most of the various Baiyue tribes within 2 years, leaving only the kingdom of Oleg in the far southern region. To resist the Qin army, to let the people of Oleg to retreat into the mountains, employing guerrilla warfare and scorched earth tactics against the Qin forces. The Qin army, unable to defeat the Oleg people and suffering from various disease in the southern land, was eventually defeated and had to withdraw. The 3-year resistance of the Oleg people against the Qin under the leadership of An Vương proved successful.
In 210 BC, after the death of Zhi Huang, the Qin dynasty fell into chaos and rebellions erupted in many regions. In Namhai district, the local governor also rose against the emperor. He planned to invade Oleg to incorporate into his Nanyue kingdom, but he died before his plan could be executed. Its power was handed over to Judah Zhao in 208 BC. Judah invaded Oleg. The Oleg army, led by General Galo and equipped with a magical crossbow made from the nail of Imri turtle, defeated Judah forces, forcing him to seek peace. Attempting to invade Oleg once again, Judah devised a plan to marry his son Zhang Tui to An Vương daughter, Princess Mi Zhao. Staying in the court of An Vương, Zhang Tui became a spy for Judah, gathering information about Oleg's defenses in Gola Citadel and sabotaging the magical crossbow. That year, Judah launched another attack on Oleg, having learned about the citadel's defenses, then successfully sabotaged the crossbow. Judah's army could easily breach the walls and capture the fortress. An Vương, overconfident in his possession of the magical weapon, disregarded the warnings and continued playing chess even as the enemy approached. Not only after he saw his mightiest weapon fail, did he fully realize the gravity of his kingdom and his life situation. An Vương narrowly escaped the besieged city, fled to the sea, and eventually took his own life. After the fall of Gola, other Oleg provinces were soon captured by Judah, and Oleg became a part of Nanyue Kingdom. The Vietnamese people entered a period of 1,000 years under northern rule. After conquering Oleg, Judah proclaimed himself king of Nam Vic. Nam Vic stood as a spring state despite a vassal state of the Han dynasty in China. Although Judah divided Oleg into 2 districts, Zhaoji and Guzheng, he upheld the authority of local lords, utilizing them to sustain his rule. He only appointed a few Chinese officials and a limited number of soldiers to control the local Vietnamese lords and facilitate the tax collection. The Zhou dynasty lasted for 96 years until 111 BC, when it was annexed by the Han dynasty, spanning the reigns of 5 kings. In the past, some Vietnamese historians deemed the Nam Vic Kingdom one of the Vietnamese dynasties. Lai Nguyễn Trãi, in his famous work Bình Ngô Đại Cáo, Great Proclamation upon the Pacification of the Wu, which is considered Vietnam's second declaration of independence. Consequently, some scholars considered 111 BC as the commencement of the 1,000 years of northern domination, not 208 BCE.
The Han dynasty divided Nam Vic into 9 regions. Within the former territory of Oleg, there were 3 regions: Zhaoji, Guzheng, and Nhật Nam. Although Chinese officials were appointed to rule these regions, Vietnamese lords were still permitted to govern towns and smaller districts within these territories. During the Han dynasty, the Vietnamese people faced heavy oppression and taxation. Han officials exploited the population intensely to accumulate wealth. Additionally, Chinese rulers enforced the spread of Confucianism and compelled the people of Oleg to adopt Han customs, initiating a policy of cultural assimilation, in this case, Sinicization. In 34 BC, The Han Dynasty appointed Toden Suding as the regional magistrate of Zhaoyi, a ruthless ruler. He imposed harsh policies, forced local people to surrender rare goods, and imposed exorbitant taxes. It was this oppression that led to the rebellion of the Zheng sisters 6 years later.
The Zheng sisters' rebellion. The Zheng sisters, Zheng and Zheng Ye, were daughters of a local lord in the district of Meiling and were descendants of the home kings. Despite being females, they exhibited a manly character, excelling in martial arts and enjoyed hunting, horseback riding, and even elephant riding. Zheng was married to Tisat, the son of the lord of the neighboring Juyin district. The marriage aimed to create an alliance between the people of the two regions to prepare for the rebellion against Toden. Upon discovering this plan, Toden unexpectedly attacked Juyin, killing Tisat. Resentfully, on the 6th day of the first lunar month in the year 40 AD, Zheng and her sister Zheng Ye, alongside their forces, performed a solemn ceremony by the head river in Futa, vowing to avenge Tisat and for the people of Aule. Starting in Futa, the uprising quickly spread throughout Yaoji and other regions. People from Guzheng, Yunnan, Renan, and Hefo, Hepu enthusiastically joined the rebellion. Riding atop of two white elephants at the head of the army, the Zheng sisters swiftly led the rebel forces to capture Meilen, then Gotla, and finally Nuilo Baklin, which was the Han's regional capital. In just a matter of months, the rebels had taken control of more than 65 towns and settlements, forcing Toden and other Han officials to flee back to China. The rebellion was a success. After the uprising, the Zheng sisters were proclaimed queens. They built an independent and autonomous state, establishing a government structure. They also exempted the people from taxation and bestowed titles on who contributed to the cause. In the winter of the year 41, the Han Emperor dispatched Ma Yuan, one of his most trusted commanders, to reconquer Aulak and suppress the rebellion. The Han forces engaged in many battles with the Zheng sisters' troops, gradually pushing them back. Realizing that they couldn't withstand the superior and more numerous enemy forces, the rebel army retreated first to Kola and then to Hatloi, and eventually entrenched themselves in the Gamkhe Bavi mountains, hoping that the craggy terrain would give them an advantage. In early 43, the Zheng sisters made their last stand in a dramatic battle on Mount Gamkhe Hanoi, in which the rebel forces were ultimately defeated and scattered. The Zheng sisters fled back to Futa, where they ended their lives by jumping into the head river to avoid capture. The remainders of the rebel forces continued to fight for a while longer in Guzheng, but were eventually
Tưởng rằng
squashed.
nước ta từ
With
đây
the
sẽ
end
được
of the
độc
Zheng
lập vĩnh
sisters'
viễn,
uprising,
nhưng
our
không.
nation
Vào
entered
năm
the second
41,
period of
nhà Đông
modern
Hán huy động
domination.
2 vạn quân do Mã Việt chỉ huy, chia làm 2 cánh cử và bộ sang xâm lược nước ta. Quân nước ta lúc này do có nhiều thủ lĩnh không phục hai vị vua là phụ nữ, nên nhanh chóng tan rã và tự ly khai, khiến sức mạnh của quân khởi nghĩa bị suy giảm. Cộng với thế quân Hán đang rất mạnh, nên Hai Bà Trưng đành lui quân về giữ Cấm Khê. Đến năm 43, quân Hán tấn công tổng lực vào Cấm Khê, Hai Bà Trưng liều chết chống cự, song đều tử trận. Cuộc khởi nghĩa bị dập tắt. Từ đây, nước Việt ta lại thuộc quyền kiểm soát của nhà Hán và cũng là bắt đầu cho thời Bắc thuộc lần 2.
Despite the turmoil in China and the gradual decline of the Han dynasty, Xi Yi, a capable administrator, managed to maintain stability in Zhaoqiao, even asserting it a degree of autonomy from the Han dynasty. For this reason, many ancient historians consider Xi Yi as a king, and the 40 years of his rule were seen as a separate era in Vietnamese history. Xi Yi also played an important role in introducing Confucianism to Vietnam. Therefore, he was honored with the title of Nam Giáo Học Tổ, who brought education to the South, as many medieval Vietnamese consider him the scholar that brought civilization to Vietnam.
Before Lady Jiu Rebellion, after the fall of the Han Dynasty in 222 AD, China entered the Three Kingdoms period of Cao Wei, Xu Han, and Eastern Wu. During this time, Yaoqiao became a part of Dongno. Just like the Han Dynasty, Eastern Wu rulers imposed harsh policies on the people of Yaoji.
Lady Jiu, or Jiu Tijin, was born in 226 of district of Guzheng. After her parents' early demise, she lived with her brother, Jiu Wukde, a local chieftain. She was a woman of strength, skilled in martial arts, and had great determination to free her country from Chinese domination. Upon reaching the age to marry, her cruel sister-in-law wanted her to wed a man. However, Jiu Tijin refused, famously declaring, "I'd like to ride storms, kill argos in the open sea, drive out the aggressors, reconquer the country, undo the ties of serfdom, and never bend my back to be the concubine of whatever man." At the age of 19, she and her brother ventured into the new mountains to establish a base and recruit soldiers for the upcoming rebellion against Dongwu. She gained a great support from the local chieftains. Learning of her plans, her sister-in-law intended to betray Zhu Tijin and her brother. However, she was killed by Lady Zhu. In 248 AD, Lady Zhu commenced the revolt as rebel forces attacked the towns and settlements for the Ngao forces. The Ngao army was pushed back the border, and the ruling officials were either killed or fled back to China. After a while, Zhu Wukdek passed away due to illness, and Zhu Tijin was hailed as the leader of the uprising. Whenever she went into a battle, she often wore golden armor, carried a golden spear, wore ivory sandals, and rode on top a white elephant and led her troops from the front. To regain control of Yaoji, the king of Dongwu Dongwei Sun Wan sent General Lu Yan to crush the rebellion. Using both military force and bribery, Lu Yan was able to subdue the uprising's leaders and defeat Lady Zhu's forces in numerous battles. Therefore, during the 6 months of resistance against Lu Yan's army, the rebel forces were forced to retreat. The revolt came to an end in the battle on Tung Mountain, Tanhua province, during which she took her own life and avoided capture, much like the Zheng sister did 200 years ago.
The Tang dynasty emerged during the last phase of the Three Kingdoms period, seizing power from the Ngui dynasty in 266. In 280, the Tang dynasty conquered Dongwu, unifying China. As a result, Zhaozhou, which included the 4 districts of Haofo, Guzheng, Zhaoji, and Vietnam, became part of Tang's territory. The Tang dynasty distributed power among various members of the royal family. These members often fought each other for power, leading to the frequent internal conflicts that weakened the country. Taking advantage of this situation, the state of Lam'up, Linyi, later known as Jimtan, Champa, which located to the south of Zhaozhou, often attacked and plundered Zhaozhou. In 420, the Tang dynasty, now controlling only the southeastern part of China and refers to as Dongtang, Eastern Jin, were usurped by the Liu Tong dynasty, Liu Song, not to be confused with the later Tong Song dynasty in Vietnamese history. The Liu Tong dynasty held power for 59 years, from 420 to 479. In 479, the Liu Tong dynasty collapsed, and it was succeeded by the Namte dynasty, Southern Qi. The Namte dynasty ruled southern China and Zhaozhou for only 22 years, from 479 to 501, after which it was overthrown by the Lung dynasty, Lian.
Similar to officials of previous dynasty in Yaozhou, those of the Lung dynasty were corrupt and cruel, inflicting great suffering upon the local population. Liu Tu, the magistrate of Yaozhou, was one such individual. These oppressive policies imposed by Liu Tu on the Vietnamese people ultimately resulted in the uprising led by Li Bi and the establishment of the independent state of Langsong in 544. This event marked the end of second era of northern domination, a 649-year period during which 6 Chinese dynasties ruled over Vietnam, signifying a significant chapter in Vietnamese history. And we will leave it for the part 2 of this video series.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoy it, kindly consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, following our Facebook page, and sharing this content to others. Explore all other videos on our channel and stay tuned for more exciting content in the future. Your support means the world to us. Thanks again for watching and see you again.